Hello, my friends. You know, when you hire a lawyer, one of their jobs, arguably the most important job they have, is to try to make you look as good as possible in front of a judge. They want to help their client seem like a decent person, even if they are not. So, generally, what they'll do is try to focus on whatever positive traits their client has, kind of highlight the silver linings, if you will, and if there are none, then they have to sort of get creative and improvise a little bit. And that's what we're going to see today. This is Olivia, and this is her sentencing hearing. So she's already been convicted, and I'll go over what she was convicted of here in just a second. But her lawyer is going to try very hard to help her seem like a decent person. But the problem is her lawyer is very bad at it, and Olivia just makes it worse. And the number one goal at a sentencing hearing for both of them is to make Olivia seem as remorseful as humanly possible. But what happens when A, she's not remorseful at all, and B, she's too stupid to even pretend like she's remorseful? Well, let's find out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. Okay, so something I want you to keep in the back of your mind throughout this entire situation is the catalyst for all of this. The thing that caused everything is that she was having an affair. So she's having an affair. She goes to a New Year's Eve party with her husband, and her boyfriend shows up. Okay, it says Olivia Clendenin, 29, of Franklin, became aware that the two men were speaking with each other at the gathering after both learned earlier that evening that they were involved with the same woman. So it would be very difficult to keep that a secret when both of them are at the same party, all right? So she's wanting to leave the party, and she wants her husband to leave too, but he refuses, presumably because he's having a very interesting conversation with his new friend. So she is enraged by the fact that he won't leave with her, and I guess because they're talking to each other. And she goes home and gets a weapon with every intention of going back and ending her husband's life, and maybe her boyfriend too. But she's a bumbling buffoon, and even though she fired 8 times, she missed every one. But she hit a random innocent bystander who happened to be at the party. Now, her husband was innocent too, but this person had nothing to do with any of this. Now, luckily, he survived, but it did a lot of damage, and we'll hear about that here in just a minute. But this is the type of person we're dealing with. First of all, she was fine having an affair. And then when they find out she was having an affair, she was so enraged that she was willing to take a life. So in court, the victim and his family get up and do a victim impact statement. And they talk about how it's affecting all of their lives, especially him. And he was hit in the stomach.
His left side hurts constantly. He suffers from severe stomach problems because the bullet that hit his rib exploded and destroyed his intestines.
And he used to be really into fitness, but he can't really do that much anymore. So this is going to affect him for the rest of his life. And something all of them, the victim and his mother and his grandmother, all mention is her blatant lack of remorse.
The saddest part of all of this is that throughout the entire ordeal, she has not shown one bit of remorse or concern for the man she shot instead of the ones that she wanted to shoot.
Throughout the trial, I have watched her closely. She has shown absolutely no emotion or remorse, even when my son was crying out for his life.
So now that we have a pretty good idea of how remorseful she should be, let's listen to the prosecution a little bit and a jail phone call, which is always interesting, and let's see how remorseful she seems.
From my experience, not only dealing with this case, but having listened to both the jail calls and the home wave calls that she's been engaged in, the defendant has since the time she was convicted, she has absolutely zero remorse for this offense. I can say, I don't know that I've ever heard someone with less remorse than she has for this offense. I want to play one for you, which I think sums up her attitude, and I think, frankly, is indicative of the way she views this case in total. This is going to be her and her mom talking about the reaction to the verdict.
I just can't believe, how nobody was thrilled when this is what they wanted.
No, I really thought they'd be hugging and laughing. Well, not laughing, but hugging and basically celebrating this, but they weren't.
I mean, you're ruining a young girl's life. How could you not be upset?
You're ruining a young girl's life. How could you not be upset? I've listened to almost all the calls she's made since sentencing, and that attitude is the attitude she's had throughout the entire process.
I mean, I think that tracks. All she cares about is what's happening to her. And I know we throw around the term narcissist a lot and sociopath a lot, but she clearly is the type of person who only cares about herself. At any given moment, it's just about what she wants. She was willing to have an affair because she wanted what she wanted when she wanted it. And when that went south, she didn't want to deal with the consequences. She didn't want to deal with him, so she was willing to take him out of the picture. But I would also bet money, if we could probe into her mind, that she's thinking, why is this such a big deal? I mean, he's still alive. It could have been much worse. Why am I in so much trouble? You know? But it's not really about how much damage she did. It's really about how much damage she was intending to do. And she was intending to end someone. But now let's listen to Olivia's lawyer and see if she can turn this thing around and make her client look halfway decent and redeemable. And let's see how much help she gets from Olivia.
It's easy to cherry pick a call and indicate that there's a lack of remorse. I think what is relevant to Ms. Clendenin is actually what was presented during trial, during her interview with the officers. And as soon as she found out that Mr. Johnson was hit, her actual reaction was, oh my God, is he okay? And she was inquiring of the detective as to his status.
No, she wasn't concerned about him. She wanted to know how much trouble she was in. And it's funny, when I looked at the comments for this video, the top comment had that same thought.
Now, over time, people can view things differently, the impact that it has on themselves instead of looking outside of themselves. Also, my understanding, though I don't have any jail calls to play for, Your Honor, specifically, that Ms. Clendenin did speak with her family about sorry, not to say sorry, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but feeling a certain way, that it's unfortunate that Mr. Johnson and his family have had to experience this.
All right. Now, she's like, now I don't have any proof of this, even though all the jail phone calls are recorded and I could easily get the recordings. You're just going to have to trust me that when she wasn't being blatantly remorseless, she was being super remorseful. Like, she was saying sorry type stuff all the time, you know? And I have it on good authority that she was holding a puppy the whole time and not kicking it. Now, I'm not saying she's an angel, but angels also don't kick puppies. It's science. Like, she's really reaching here, you know? She's saying, I know that you heard a part where she was being obviously remorseless, but just trust me. The rest of it, super remorseful. Lots of remorse all over the place. And notice that she says that they're sorry that the victim and his family are experiencing this. Even the lawyer doesn't say she's sorry that she did it. Now, again, she has already been convicted, so it's not a question at this point whether she did it or not. And even her lawyer is like, yeah, she's super sorry they're going through this. Like, no, they're not just going through it. She made them go through it. And that's going to be a recurring thing when she stands up and starts speaking as well.
That is my understanding of some of the conversations, certainly not all of them. Clendenin's mother appeared to be indicating she was expecting somebody to be jumping up and down, joyous and, excited, so to speak. But Ms. Clendenin indicated, well, that's not what they were doing. And here's maybe why they weren't doing that, because this is not only impacting them, but it also impacts me in my life. So again, I don't know that it's appropriate to pick and choose the limited phone calls to not include everything.
Yeah, nice try.
But of course, that was the state's decision and within their right to do that. I'm by no means trying to say that the serious provocation on his part by any means, but I think the actual intended individuals, according to what was at trial, were the other two gentlemen, and there was some inducement or facilitating in terms of bringing upon the offense.
Okay, I don't know what she's talking about there, and I don't know if something was edited out of this original footage that may have given some context, but it sounds to me like she's saying that there was some question whether or not he provoked her. But from everything I've read and what I understand is it was basically like a drive-by and he was just on the porch minding his own business. So honestly, this sounds real victim blamey, you know?
So in terms of the mitigating information, Ms. Glendenin, as your honor is aware, has remained out on bond during the pendency of this case, which was over a year, without any violations. She was an upstanding member of her community leading up to this. As part of her ownership of the dance studio, she would actually give out scholarships to kids in need. By that, it wasn't something where the studio actually gave money, but she would donate extra time, extra lesson. It's my understanding that Ms. Glendenin also leading up to this was attending Northern Kentucky University, so she was trying to improve her life and her standing in life. She'd recently completed a business correspondence course through Harvard University. She held a number of jobs during the course of this case and leading up to it.
All right, all of that is wonderful. But if she got her way, somebody would have died. So I don't care. I don't care what else she did up until then. You know, Chris Watts was also an upstanding citizen and everybody loved him and he donated time and money and did all kinds of things like that until he did what he did. And if you don't know what he did, it's a whole other can of worms. But it doesn't matter what people do up until the moment they reveal themselves as monsters. They're still monsters.
We again would ask your honor to impose a sentence of 8 years as it relates to the firearm specifications, that your honor would merge the discharge into a habitation with the attempted murder, and we are asking the court to impose a minimum sentence at this time. We appreciate the court's time and consideration.
All right, so there's been no remorse by Olivia throughout the whole case. If I were the judge and I was even sort of considering minimum sentencing, and I heard her lawyer get up and not even acknowledge wrongdoing, basically just call it the incident, I would be like, yep, no, neither of them are even admitting that she did anything wrong. So no, the lawyer did not do a great job here. And now Olivia is just going to make it worse. And remember, the whole point of this is for her to sound remorseful so that she can hopefully convince the judge that she would never do this again. So let's see how that goes.
Your Honor, I respect this court and where it stands. I would just like to say that I care deeply about my family, my friends, my business, and those who rely on me in this world. I take great pride in the impact that I have had on my community and the children that I coach and that I basically raise them with their parents. And I will continue to do so moving forward. And to Daniel, I am very, very glad.
Did you expect her to say very, very sorry? Well, you haven't been paying attention.
And to Daniel, I am very, very glad that he is well after a difficult time he has been through. And I truly hope that he has a great future, and I wish him nothing but the best in his future. Thank you.
That's it. Is that not wild? Your Honor, blah, blah, blah. I love myself and my family and my friends. I'm pretty awesome. I'm glad he's fine. You're welcome. That's all. Bro. And again, it's so infuriating because she says the hard things that he's been through. No, the hard things that you have put him through. You did this. But how crazy is it that she's like, I am very, very glad that he is fine. Like, totally better now. So what's the big deal? And as short as her little spiel was, she spent the majority of it talking about how great she is and how she loves her family and all that. Because in her mind, it really is her trying to convince the judge that her life is really, really special and important. And if he sends her to prison, it's ruining her life. Nothing that she did deserves any consequences. It's just, I mean, this is my life and you can't ruin it for me. Like, I've got things I need to do, you know? God, what a psychopath. And so then the big question is, would she do this again? Yeah, for sure. It's clear that the attitude that she has is, if there's somebody in my life, I don't want them in my life, I take them out of my life. Problem solved. And the first time I heard this, I hadn't heard the lawyer speak yet. I had just heard her little spiel. And so I was thinking, there's no way she wasn't coached, right? She probably was told exactly what to say in order to show remorse for what she did. But I was thinking she was just too stupid and or self-centered to even follow those instructions. But now, after hearing the entire argument from the lawyer, I'm not so sure that's true. I think the lawyer and her both are in denial and both have no idea what they're doing here.
I've considered the purposes and principles of sentencing, including punishment, deterrence, and protection of the public. The Supreme Court's decision in State v. Beatty, the court finds that it must impose 2 of the firearm specifications: the 5-year drive-by shooting specification and the 3-year firearm specifications. I do not believe that count 4 merges with count 1. The sentence on count 1 is 8 to 12 years to be served after the 5 and 3. And the sentence on count 4 is 2 years, but that will be run concurrent with count 1 for a total of 16 to 18 and a half years. On release, you will be supervised by the Adult Parole Authority for a period of 5 years. If you violate any of the rules of supervision, the Adult Parole Authority can send you back for 9 months per violation, up to 1/2 of your stated sentence, which would be 8 additional years they could add for cumulative violations of post-release control. It is rebuttably presumed that you will be released from service of the sentence after serving the 16 years.
Judge, can I just interject real quick since you're talking about the indefinite sentence?
Yes.
So the sentence you gave her on the underlying count was 8 to 12.
Correct.
So I believe that 4 years has to be added to the indefinite term. So I believe the actual term is 16 to 20 and a half years.
You're right.
So when you said 18 and a half, it's really
Yeah.
20 and a half.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so he doesn't really give any opinions about it. He doesn't talk about remorse versus no remorse, which is actually kind of disappointing because basically everybody in this case talked about how she showed no remorse. And I mean, it's pretty obvious there's no remorse there. Now, I obviously don't know what it feels like to, want to take someone's life, but I can't imagine if, for whatever reason, I was going to do that and I ended up hurting an innocent person who had nothing to do with it. I would feel terrible all the time. I wouldn't be able to sleep knowing that I caused some innocent person that much harm. So, whatever. But she got 16 years. 16 years is a long time, and that's good because she would absolutely do it again. If she is provoked, if she is, made angry enough, there's no telling what she will do. Because just listening to her for a little bit, given the context, you can tell that other people don't matter to her. What happens in somebody else's life is not as important as what happens in hers. So I just thought this was really interesting because the lawyer was bad, and I don't know that I've ever seen somebody so lacking in even being able to pretend to be remorseful when years of prison were on the line, and she just couldn't do it because that's not in her DNA. I don't think she really even understands what remorse is. So I don't know that she even knows how to show it. But what she does know is that her life is very important. And she wants to make sure everybody knows it all the time. So anyway, I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.